What's up guys, Jordan from Bennett's Customs. We're back on another episode. This one's gonna be pretty cool. We have this application is gonna be used for kind of quite a few different projects and just one of those tools that I can kind of set aside and when I need it, I can get it. Basically what that tool is we are gonna try and create a little bit of a hammer formed jig or sort of handmade tooling in order to use that power hammer to create some really cool beads. I'm gonna basically show you exactly how I'm gonna create it. We're gonna trial it and we are gonna make a couple of ends that we are using for a specific project that you will see in next week's video. So let's get into it. All right, so basically what I'm trying to create here is, as you can see in front of me, I have sort of our piece of 25 mil MDF, and I've already made sort of a hammer formed buck in order to roll these edges and create a really nice radius with this 2.5 mil aluminum. And that is gonna be in next week's video, and we'll kind of explain to you how I created this as well. We are sort of running into a little bit of an issue here, and that issue is I wanna use that power hammer to create some really nice beads in this. Unfortunately, the bead roller for thickness 2.5, we're sort of pushing it. That guy over there should have the capacity to be able to give us a really clean, distinctive, quite pronounced bead in our 2.5 mil aluminum. I kind of did a little bit of trial and error. It's kind of hard to see. It looks pretty ugly. There was a few different tests that I was doing. We were able to get a really nice consistent bead with sort of the supplied one that is there. That works perfect if you just want to do one, but because we want to do a crossover, the crossover with that, the dies sort of make contact to it, and unfortunately, it will not give you the best result underneath. It sort of chews up the aluminum as well, and it doesn't really want to work all that great. So what I want to do is create a sort of metal and wood base that we can then kind of, and utilize this again. So you can see I've already sort of outlined kind of the shape and size that I want to do. This is a 16 mil wide sort of bead. Only reason I'm doing that is because I have a nice high tensile 16 mil bolt here, and I'm actually going to use this with one of the shanks that we have for that power hammer, and this is going to be sort of my little bead that comes down. Carl from Make It Custom has done an incredible video on this using specific hand tools, and he kind of did his using like an air hammer, which is awesome. But I kind of want to try something with the power hammer, which would be really cool. I've already kind of got, you know, a bit of a head start with making this buck already. And what I need to do is I need to drill these out, and what I'm thinking is I could kind of maybe do this all in one with a piece of steel. So what I might do is just pilot hole some drills here, and then we'll run our 16 mil drill bit through these edges, and then we'll come through here with the jigsaw and we'll cut all this out. And then once that's done, we'll just clean it up with a file, and then we'll get our steel up here and we'll do the exact same idea to it there. All right, so you can kind of see this is our base. And what I might do is I might actually trial a piece, see what it's gonna be like, and just see if the sort of hard 90-degree edge or sharp edge will give me more of a definite line, or maybe it's gonna be too much, and maybe I'll just run a small you know, router end around this just to sort of round off the edge slightly, just to, when it kind of comes in, maybe it'll give it a little bit of a smoother dip. What I need to do is create another piece out of some steel with the same sort of idea here. I'm just gonna grab a little bit of steel. This is pretty thick, but kind of what I have, and I think it's nearly 5 or 6 mil, but it definitely won't budge or move. It'll keep everything flat, which is a bonus. So if we can utilize one of these corners, that means we will not have to cut another one. So just gonna lay this out, lay the X out again, know exactly where it is. Nothing should change too much. And if I have to, I can put them together and just kind of run a little file in there and make sure everything's gonna match. So, just these now while I can see them. So I want my external to be 200 mil long, minus my 8 mil for half the diameter of my 16 mil bit. So then I can kind of run those through. Same deal, we're just gonna use the angle grinder to cut them out. This is like, you know, you had a Dazzy plasma table. Design one of these bad sallies, you could whip these up in a heartbeat.
Come all you young rounders, the story I'll tell of the promise of heaven and the warning of hell. A Take heed where you ramble, or too soon you will go. Way up on the hillside, where the new flowers grow. Well, he met in the springtime, the sun sings. Two star-crossed lovers in the still melting snow, where the loving was easy and the courting was brief. There they called her a beauty, they called him a thief. In the quiet of the evening, they'd steal away, where the laughter would flow and the fiddle would play. Well, the folks called it wrong, but hell, it seemed alright. In the sun-painted picture, and the day turned to night. Come up on the hillside, we'll have a time. You'll bring the kisses, honey, I'll bring the wine. Keep your heart guarded, or too soon it'll fall. When one walks back home, honey, only one knows it all. Well, she walked up the hillside.
All right, so I'm just gonna cut out a very similar shape to what we just cut out, and this is gonna be our base that will actually be part of our tooling for the power hammer base. This, I'm not extremely happy with. There's, I think I may remake this piece, but we're just gonna test it to see whether or not it's gonna work anyways. But I do need to make a base so that we have something to sit this on. And then we still need to make our little tool that's gonna come down here and it's gonna run across and go bang, 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 all the way through here, which will be really neat. So hoping that'll work too. So let's make this piece. Off 1 degree. Off 1 degree. Whew. All right, as long as that stays like that, we're golden. So let's get physical. does.
I've got no place else to go. No, 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 no.
All right, so we have our base made. I may have to do a few passes on this. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm just gonna test it out, but it does sort of take a little bit of brunt, but it's sort of right over top of the stake itself, so I think it should be okay. It is 90 degrees, which is nice, so we can just slot that guy in, and then this guy is obviously gonna sort of slide on that like that, and then we will be able to adjust the depth for how far we wanna go in. Now that grade 8 bolt that I had, I stuck it in the vise. Obviously you just saw me use the air grinder, and I've kind of just shaped it, and then I finished it off with a brown Scotch-Brite pad. I could go to the full thing of maybe polishing it, which I could, but I'm just gonna try and see whether or not I like the profile of it. It's still a little bit flat on the top. I may want to round it off a little bit more. I also filed this bit down, used the lathe until I broke the bit. That will slide into here. I'll be able to use these grub screws to hold it, and this will go up and down, traveling through here and making it hopefully consistent enough. Now, first things first is I'm just gonna set this down in home, which it almost is now. I might just give it a little tap with the rubber hammer. And then I will use our grub screws in order to make sure that that is centered and home. Let's go stick it in the power hammer, see what it's going to look like. Fingers crossed, it works. When it's center or off to the edge? We'll do one over here, and then we can do another one there, just to see. So I'm just gonna transfer those. I'm just using a transfer punch that's got the little spike on it, or sort of pin, and that will allow me to transfer this. Okie dokie. So I just put it offset, just so that we can kind of play around with it, and then we can move it over here to see what we like. All right, well, let's get our adjustment right. So let's go strokes all the way down. And then we'll go up until we got contact. And we'll go up with that. And then maybe we'll just go About there. We'll test it. Just come on it light and then we'll slowly nip the table up a bit more. Well, here goes nothing. No idea whether the depths are right. I did put a little bit of lubrication in there just to help with the steel on the aluminum. Okay, so we're just touching it. It's probably a little bit sloppy in here. You can kind of see because we've rounded off the tip so the edges aren't that tight. So if this was a little bit higher, maybe that would help us kind of guide it a bit more. But I think once we get into a bit more depth, it'll sort of straighten itself out. So really the only thing we can kind of do is to just give it a bit more and yeah, sort of see what happens.
I'm a rolling stone, bound to roam. Come the morning, or I'll be gone.
Okay, so it's definitely getting a good bead in there. It's consistent. It's for sure following a new like the track of the ply. I think I might just try and go a little bit more and see what it does. I don't want to push the stroke too hard, but this is only sort of the little power hammer, but let's try that. Just come up on it.
Watch the trees, falling leaves, like the breeze, won't you blow?
I was saying to Ben before, I think the more sort of hardware that you have that's fixing it tighter into place is going to help a lot. I kind of noticed that it was starting to sort of bow in, like the timber has actually got a little bit of shape to it. So, I mean, we're stretching a lot of material, especially at 2.5 mil. It's kind of pushing it. Ooh, didn't think of this part. Now that we've sort of flexed everything, let's see if we can get these out. Where's the... Okay, not too bad. Let's just get a cloth. shit everywhere. Well, we definitely formed stuff right off the bat before looking at the other side. Compared to sort of our trial, we've made massive headway. I'd already say it's a win. We're done. You know, we've made it happen. It's the other side I'm kind of interested in knowing about, and whether or not we do need to use a router to sort of clean these edges off. I think a little tiny one would do, you know, would do us a favor, I think. So without further ado, and you can kind of see it sort of formed it. It's kind of dished out this way. Again, that's pretty standard for not really having a lot of clamping stuff to sort of hold it to let it stretch. I'm gonna see a little bit of the beading in there, but I think, you know, if you were to just go over your strokes a bit more, maybe a little bit faster, we could probably eliminate it. But that's pretty awesome. Some of the lines line up really nicely. Like that one's really good. This guy's off a bit, and this guy's off a bit. That one's decent. This one's really nice. So if I can consistently get a really nice edge like that, I'd be happy. So again, that comes down to just pure fitment on all your pieces. You want them to be as accurate as possible, I think. But that is a far win compared to that there. I mean, this was real rough, but we just wanted to test whether or not it was gonna work. And this is in 2.5 mil aluminum, so it'd be interesting to put it into 18 gauge or 16 gauge steel, which we'll definitely try in this video, just for a bit of comparison. So I think what we should do now is just a little bit of fine tuning. Let's cut some 18 gauge steel. We'll cut a square out as that, and then we'll do a few more passes and see if we can get this thing perfect before the end of the video.
No rest. No, no. I've been down so long that my mind can't get no rest. No, no.
All right, so I spent a little bit of time, as you saw, just kind of trying to sand and file and really match the profile. I really wanted to clean up our little corners, both on the timber and the steel as well. I did cut a little piece of, well, this is just the scrap. This is 18 gauge. And I would like to sort of do a test piece with this as well. But what I think we should do is try and do another one in the 2.5 mil aluminum. And then we can pull this off and maybe see a bit of a comparison, see if we can kind of clean this one up a little bit better. All right, so we've done another pass. I'm not sure if it's as deep as this one. Can't quite tell. Maybe that's one thing I don't really know is until we get it going. I kind of feel like, okay, one thing just from visually looking at it, I think if I were to round this off just a little bit more so it's not so flat on the bottom, we're going to get a little bit more of a point, which is essentially going to give us a bit more depth if we wanted to sort of achieve a little bit more. I mean, it's not bad, but it would be kind of nice if it was a little bit more distinct. Another thing too is because this runs a set of springs in here, it's only going until it sort of stops. And then in this middle section, obviously there's nothing for it to, it can kind of go down to say maybe the stroke that it's actually intended for. Maybe we're not quite hitting that stroke, and then those springs are allowing it to sort of come up, which is exactly what it's designed for. So it's probably a little bit deeper just in this little area here. But what I'd like to do is just pull this off, and we can just do a little comparison, and then let's grab that piece of sheet metal and stick it in and see what it does. On a comparison, so it's definitely, I would say, cleaner in areas, which is good, but I like the consistency of this one a bit better. So let's try something a little bit thinner. Let's try this 18 gauge sheet metal here and see if this will make a bit of a difference.
Slow down, mama, why you talk so mean? Good Lord, Nashville, it ain't what it seems. You got nice clothes, late night shows, boogie down at the bar, fiddle tunes and homemade booze, but it always goes too far. Shooting pool, crack a jack, take off now and don't look back, but hey, don't you wanna play?
All right. I think, let's tap these out. Oh. Oh, Murdoch just had to have a drink. Thanks, Josh. Pardon? Yeah, now he's got a, you're making him a bloody alcoholic. Those?
Coming in the back. No, this is a large couple of bits of bread.
Get your laughing gear around that. Holy moly! That's pretty sick. That's really sick. Look at that. Same deal. Little bit of forming. So I think what I mentioned before, what I might do is I'm going to lay this out. I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to pre-stretch it a little bit to see if we can kind of get a little bit of that form out. But that is pretty cool. So let's do one more, and then we're going to end this video. We're going to see if we can just finesse this, fine tune it just a little bit more. But I think what we're going to do is we'll pre-stretch the area. I'm going to take that bit out, and I'm just going to round it off just a little bit more, just to get a bit more depth before it's making contact to the side. If you knew what this was going to go to, somewhere over in that area, and somewhere over in that area, but that's going to be really, really cool. I'm digging that.
Hold on, sugar, why you look so sad? Come on now, mama, ain't nothing here so bad. We got fast cars, movie stars, party on down the street. With Mary Jane, good cocaine, plenty down there to eat. Double down, throw some dice, take off now, don't think twice, but hey, don't you wanna play? Baby, come on. Tell me where you wanna go. But baby, I don't work down there anymore. No, I don't. get back, get on track, come on, wrap this thing. Double down, roll the dice, take off now, don't look twice. Hey, don't you wanna play? Say hey.
All right, so as you can see, that moved a lot of material really quickly. I'm not even sure, maybe we did it a little bit too much. It obviously sort of like, yeah, probably could have done a little bit less pressure and maybe not such a high crown. You know, we can save that for a different video. If you guys do want to know or learn exactly sort of size for pre-stretching for your beads, again, Mike Wagner at Cornfield Customs, who's got a YouTube channel. He's an absolute wizard, very knowledgeable guy, and he has got a very good video segment on exactly just that. So definitely go and check him out. So we're gonna just try, see whether or not that worked for us. So, speaking to Ben before we pull this out, this plate could definitely be thicker because it is still giving this a fair amount of contour just purely for how much we're stretching it. So maybe a steel plate on the bottom, sandwiched between the wood and this one, or making the whole thing out of steel and kind of eliminating the timber. All right, so it's considerably deeper by first glance. It's flatter by a lot, so the pre-stretching definitely helped. Could we get more definite lines? I think we could. Whether it's kind of maybe cleaning this up or sort of making a new buck that was really accurate to the metal like we were first mentioning. But that's pretty good. I think you can kind of just tell like where it is off. So on this one, the timber sort of sits behind the metal. So if you were to, you know, looking at the light, there's a bit more of a shadow on this side. So it's not quite a defined sort of edge that we're after. Maybe almost better on this one for some reason. Maybe it's just the way the depth is on that. Consistency on this one's probably a little bit better, bit smoother. Maybe I did more passes. Maybe this one I just need to slow down a little bit. And I still want to try that thing with the springs locked out. So maybe we won't get this sort of area in here where it's a little bit deeper than this bit here. But yeah, I think it's really neat. And obviously this is something that you could do with standard tools. And Carl makes a very good example of that in an older video that he's done. And we'll put that link in the description below as well. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, sort of with a little bit of finessing and that, we can kind of create different shapes, which is really, really neat. So we got our 2.5 aluminum sheet and our 18 gauge, or I think that's 1.2, is this one as well. You will be seeing this exact die being used in next week's episode, whereas what we kind of specifically made this for, and the following episode on another project where this exact same X or design will be used. So hopefully you guys enjoyed something out of that and learned something as well. And it's always a pleasure to sort of make these, and I feel like I talk a lot, but I'm hoping I'm sort of, you know, explaining what I'm understanding at the same time and learning as we go with this. You know, this isn't sort of a take, you know, go through and we edit all the mistakes out. It's really neat to show you guys sort of the vulnerable part of this process. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit notifications, and we'll see you next week on another episode of Bennett's Customs.